The Young and the Restless spoilers. Next 2 week update, June 29 to the 10th of July, 2026. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel on this beautiful day. We are diving right back into the absolute madness of Genoa City. And let me tell you, we have a massive amount of ground to cover today. Grab a huge cup of coffee because the drama is overflowing this week and we need to talk about it right now. So let's just jump right into it because I am honestly still reeling from what is happening with the Abbotts and the Newmans right now. Billy Abbott and Kane Ashby thought they already had their hands full. I mean, they thought they were maxed out on stress, right? But then the door swings open, and standing there, looking like an absolute storm cloud in designer clothes, is none other than Jill Abbott. And let's be real for a second. Jill Abbott does not just drop by for a friendly cup of tea. She never has, and she never will. The second that door opened and Billy and Kane saw her face, you just know their stomachs dropped to the floor. The look on her face, it wasn't a motherly, I missed you look. It was a, I am about to tear your lives apart and rearrange the pieces kind of look. You guys know exactly the look I'm talking about. When Jill comes to town, everything gets turned upside down. She is a force of nature, and right now, she is a force of nature with a very specific, very dangerous agenda. Billy knows this better than anyone. When his mother comes to town, his life basically implodes. And honestly, Billy's life is already a smoking crater right now. I mean, think about what he is dealing with. The man is drowning in guilt. He is absolutely suffocating in it. Sally Spectre just went through a horrific car crash in the pouring rain. She lost their baby. She miscarried because she was fleeing in a state of sheer panic and heartbreak. And why was she fleeing? Because Billy, in all his infinite wisdom, let his doubts and Jill's toxic interference get into his head. He questioned the paternity of the baby. He broke Sally's heart when she was already so fragile from losing baby Ava with Adam. So Billy is sitting there, probably staring at the wall, hating himself, hating the decisions he's made. And then his mother, the very woman who helped plant those seeds of doubt, just waltzes through the door. Is she there to comfort him? Is she there to apologize for pushing him to doubt Sally? Honestly, knowing Jill, probably not. She's probably there to tell him to pull himself together and focus on business. Or maybe she's there to clean up his mess. But whatever it is, Billy is not in the mental state to handle a Jill Abbott hurricane right now. He is just broken. And then there's Kane. Oh, Kane Ashby. He's standing right there next to Billy, bracing himself for the impact. Because Kane knows that a powerful, ruthless woman like Jill is not going to just stand on the porch and knock politely for very long. She's going to barge in and take over. And Kane has a lot to hide right now. He has been playing a very, very dangerous, highly toxic game with Lily and the entire Winters family. Let's not forget what Kane is actually up to. Malcolm Winters' life was literally hanging by a thread. He needed a bone marrow transplant to survive his aplastic anemia. And Kane, miracle of miracles, was the only match. But instead of just doing the right thing and saving his former uncle-in-law, what did Kane do? He weaponized it. He blackmailed Lily. He demanded control and a massive seat at the table at Chancellor Winters in exchange for saving Malcolm's life. It is so twisted. And what's even crazier is that it's somehow sparking this weird, toxic romantic tension between him and Lily again. But Jill is the matriarch of Chancellor. Catherine Chancellor left that legacy in her hands. Do you really think Jill is going to let Kane Ashby extort his way into the top spot of her company using a medical emergency as leverage? Absolutely not. Jill is going to rip him to shreds. She is going to look at Kane, see right through his opportunistic little scheme, and she is going to crush him. Kane might think he's outsmarted Lily and Devon, but he has not outsmarted Jill Abbott. Nobody outsmarts Jill when it comes to her company. But while the Abbott and Ashby families are dealing with corporate blackmail, toxic romance, and the devastating fallout of a miscarriage, there is a completely different kind of nightmare happening across town. A literal life and death nightmare. Because while one family is drowning in the sorrow of a very tense reunion, the Newman family is being consumed by absolute terror. Over at the hospital, Nikki Newman is on the operating table. She is fighting for her sight. She is fighting for her life. The blinding, agonizing headaches that have been torturing her for weeks have finally culminated in this terrifying moment. and Victor Newman is keeping vigil. He is sitting there, right by her side whenever he can, playing the role of the deeply devoted, terrified husband. He's reflecting on their future, looking at the woman he loves, thinking about how fragile their life together has suddenly become. It looks so heartbreaking, right? It looks like the classic, epic love story of Victor and Nikki facing the darkness together. But wait, hold on. Let's zoom out for a second, because we need to talk about the massive, disgusting elephant in the room. Victor is sitting there, playing the hero. He is sitting there looking like the doting husband who is just so worried about his fragile wife. But we know the truth. We know what he did. I am honestly getting so angry just typing this because it is so incredibly twisted, even for Victor Newman. While Nikki was suffering from those severe, debilitating headaches, while she was terrified that she was literally dying, what did Victor do? Did he just hold her hand and comfort her? No, he manipulated her. He used her absolute terror and physical weakness against her. He convinced her to sign a medical power of attorney so he could make health decisions for her. But it was a lie. Buried in that legal jargon was a clause that transferred all of Nikki's personal shares in Newman Enterprises into a trust that Victor completely controls. And it gets worse. While Nikki is heavily sedated, while she is literally on an operating table, fighting for her vision and her life, Victor has been rapidly liquidating her assets. He is selling off her estate under the guise of paying for specialized medical therapies. He is looting his own wife's estate before she even takes her last breath. So when I see Victor sitting in that hospital, looking sad and reflective, I just want to scream at the screen. How can he sit there and hold her hand when he just robbed her blind? What kind of a monster uses his wife's brain surgery as a cover to consolidate corporate power? It is so dark. It is so incredibly dark. And it just proves that for Victor Newman, control is the only thing that truly matters. He loves Nikki, sure. In his own twisted way, he loves her. But he loves power more. He always has. And down the hall from this sick, twisted display of fake devotion, Victoria and Nick Newman are clinging to each other in absolute agony. These two siblings have been through so much. They have weathered so many storms, so many corporate battles, so many family betrayals. But seeing their mother, the strong, elegant, unbreakable Nikki Newman, reduced to this, fighting for her life on a surgical table, it is shaking them to their very core. Every single minute that ticks by without a doctor coming through those double doors is just pure torture for them. There is no amount of Newman money, no amount of corporate power that can buy them certainty right now. All they can do is stand in that sterile, cold hospital hallway and pray that the surgeon Victor hired can pull off a miracle. And let's talk about Nick for a second. Because Nick is barely holding it together as it is, we cannot forget what Nick has just been through. He was just trapped in a literal nightmare in Las Vegas with Matt Clark. Matt, who is faking amnesia, basically orchestrated a situation where Nick got his hands on drugs. Nick, who was trying to save Sharon and Noah, was so high on fentanyl and cocaine that he crashed his car into a ravine. He almost died. He suffered severe trauma. Nick is psychologically and physically battered right now. He is trying to process his rage toward Matt Clark, a man who claims he doesn't even remember the horrible things he did to the Newman family. Nick is so messed up in the head right now that he's actually trying to help Matt cure his amnesia just so he can have the satisfaction of beating him up with a clear conscience. That is how broken Nick is. And now, on top of all that trauma, on top of the drug relapse and the near-death experience, he is standing in a hospital waiting to see if his mother is going to die. I honestly don't know how Nick hasn't completely collapsed. He is running on fumes and sheer terror. And Victoria? Victoria is terrified for her mother, yes. But Victoria is also brilliant. She is sharp, and she is starting to notice things. She is standing in that hallway, crying for her mom, but in the back of her mind, the gears are turning. She knows something is off with the finances. She has already started to suspect that Victor is moving Nikki's money around. She is starting to realize that her father is looting her mother's estate. Can you imagine the explosion that is going to happen when Victoria finally puts all the pieces together? When she realizes that while she and Nick were crying in the hallway, praying for their mother's life, their father was busy liquidating her trust fund. It is going to be the family war to end all family wars. Victoria is going to go nuclear. And honestly, She should. Victor deserves everything that is coming to him for this. So, what does this all mean for Genoa City? We have Jill Abbott back in town, ready to scorch the earth and destroy Billy and Kane's already fragile lives. We have Billy drowning in the guilt of Sally's tragic miscarriage. We have Kane trying to play a high stakes game of corporate extortion with Lily. And on the other side of town, we have the Newman family facing a literal life or death crisis, wrapped in a massive, disgusting financial betrayal by the patriarch himself. It is a week of absolute turbulence. The stakes have literally never been higher. Who is going to survive Jill's wrath? Will Billy finally snap completely? Will Kane actually get away with stealing Chancellor Winters from Lily? And most importantly, will Nikki Newman survive this surgery? And if she does, what will she do when she wakes up and realizes her loving husband stole her company from her while she was sleeping? I am so stressed out just thinking about it. You guys, the writers are really not holding back right now. They are giving us peak soap opera drama, and I am here for it, even if it is giving me gray hairs. I want to know what you guys think. Which storyline is stressing you out the most? Are you more terrified of Jill Abbott's return, or are you sick to your stomach over Victor's betrayal of Nikki? Let me know in the comments, because I need to talk this out with people who understand the madness. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled, because in Genoa City, the next disaster is always just around the corner.